Megaprojects are supposed to be symbols of progress: massive dams, tunnels, stadiums, nuclear plants and new rail lines that change entire countries. But there is a darker side. Many of these projects explode in cost, run years late, or fail to deliver what was promised, wasting billions in the process. In this video, you will see 7 of the most expensive megaproject disasters and overruns on Earth. For each one, you'll hear what it was supposed to be, how badly the cost and schedule went out of control, and the key engineering or management lesson hidden inside the failure. We'll count down from number 7 to number 1, ending with a project that went more than 14 times over budget. Number 7 is the Channel Tunnel between the UK and France, one of the most famous rail tunnels in the world. It was meant to be a fast, modern link that would make flying between London and Paris almost unnecessary. From an engineering point of view, the tunnel is a success. Trains run safely under the seabed every day. Financially, though, it is a classic megaproject overrun. The original budget was around £5.5 billion, but the final cost reached roughly £9.5 billion, about 80% over the estimate. Unexpected geological conditions, safety requirements, and design changes pushed up the price, and early traffic forecasts were too optimistic. Investors and lenders had to absorb the shock, and the project took years to become financially stable. For a long time, the Channel Tunnel was a warning example in transport economics classes. Lesson: even when the engineering works, underestimating geology and overestimating demand can turn a great idea into a financial nightmare. Number 6 is Berlin-Brandenburg Airport in Germany, a project that became a global joke before it finally opened. It was supposed to replace older airports and give Berlin a clean, modern hub worthy of a capital city. Construction began with the idea of opening in the early 2010s. Instead, the airport's name became linked with delay memes and political embarrassment. The cost was originally estimated at about €2.8 billion, but by the time it finally opened in 2020, the price had risen to around €6 billion, more than double the budget. The opening was delayed by almost a decade, mainly due to serious issues with the fire safety system, wiring, design changes, and poor project coordination. During those years, parts of the terminal sat finished but unused, slowly aging before a single passenger checked in. Berlin had to keep operating older airports that the new project was supposed to replace. Lesson: high-tech systems like fire protection, alarms and control centers are not small details. If they are not designed and tested properly early on, they can delay an entire megaproject for years. Number 5 is the East Side Access Project in New York City, designed to bring Long Island Railroad trains into a new concourse under Grand Central Terminal. On paper, it sounds simple: dig some tunnels, build a station, connect a railway. In reality, it turned into one of the most expensive rail projects on the planet. Costs went from an early estimate of around $4 to $6 billion to about $11 to $12 billion, making it one of the most expensive miles of railway ever built. The reasons included complex underground construction, working under an active city, coordination problems between agencies, overstaffing, and weak project governance. Crews had to work around existing tunnels, utilities and old structures without shutting down New York's core transport systems. Every complication added time and money, and no single organization had full control from start to finish. Lesson: building new infrastructure under old, busy cities is extremely risky. Without strong management and clear responsibilities, costs can quietly spiral out of control. Number 4 is the Montreal Olympic Stadium and the 1976 Olympics in Canada, a megaproject that left the city with debt for decades. Hosting the Olympics was meant to put Montreal on the world stage. A futuristic stadium with a leaning tower and retractable roof was chosen as the centerpiece, pushing the limits of design and construction. The total cost for the Olympics and the stadium was initially expected to be around $300 million Canadian dollars, but final costs rose to roughly $1.5 billion Canadian dollars, about 5 times higher. The main stadium's complex architecture, construction delays, labor disputes and inflation all contributed to the blowout. The debt took around 30 years to fully repay, and the stadium became known as the Big O instead of the Big O. For many locals, it was a reminder of how one event can shape a city's finances for an entire generation. Lesson: ambitious, iconic designs can be inspiring, but if the budget and long-term use are not realistic, future taxpayers end up paying for the dream. Number 3 is the Flamanville 3 EPR nuclear reactor in France, a nuclear megaproject that shows how advanced technology can become extremely expensive when problems appear. The plant is based on a new EPR reactor design, aimed at higher efficiency and stronger safety. Construction started in the mid-2000s with big expectations for Europe's nuclear future. The project was originally budgeted at around €3.3 billion, but costs have climbed to about €19 billion, almost 6 times higher than planned. It has faced repeated delays and technical difficulties, including issues with welding, concrete, vessel components, quality control, and regulatory approvals for the new reactor design. Each time a defect was found, work had to be slowed or redone, and updated safety rules added more requirements on top. Years passed, and the plant still struggled to reach full, stable operation. Lesson: cutting-edge nuclear tech has huge potential, but design complexity plus strict safety rules mean that even small mistakes can translate into massive overruns. Number 2 is the Kashagan oil field in Kazakhstan, one of the most expensive oil projects ever attempted. Kashagan sits in the northern Caspian Sea, in a harsh environment with extreme temperatures and ice. The oil reservoir contains very high pressure, sour gas with hydrogen sulfide, which is both corrosive and toxic. The project was initially expected to cost around $10 billion. The final bill ended up near $55 billion, more than 5 times the original estimate, after years of delays and technical challenges. When operations started in 2013, pipeline leaks forced production to shut down. Emergency flaring released pollutants into the atmosphere, and engineers had to replace sections of pipeline that had already been installed. Lesson: in extreme environments, materials, chemistry and safety must all be fully understood. If corrosion, pressure and toxic gas are underestimated, the whole project can become a giant repair job. Number 1 is the Sydney Opera House in Australia, one of the most recognizable buildings on Earth, and also one of the biggest cost overruns in history. The original concept was a bold, sculptural design with huge white shells rising out of the harbour. When the project was approved, the estimated cost was about $7 million, with a relatively short schedule. In reality, the design pushed the limits of engineering at the time. The geometry of the shells kept changing, and new structural solutions had to be invented while construction was already underway. By the time construction finished, the bill was roughly $102 million, around 14.6 times higher than the original estimate. The architect resigned during the process, politics got involved, and the project ran years over schedule. Despite all this, the Opera House is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a symbol of Australia. Financially, it was a disaster at the time. Culturally, it became priceless and now attracts millions of visitors. Lesson: iconic megaprojects sit on a knife edge. If everything goes wrong, they can bankrupt budgets, but if they succeed, they can define a nation's image for generations.